AMD Radeon RX 7600. Is it dead on arrival or is it a gold mine? Let's find out, shall we? Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to JJ's PC Builds. JJ right here with you. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. You know what I mean by 4,000 watch hours? Watch the videos from beginning to end. Would be much appreciated. Would help the channel grow. And we're trying to get monetized as well. And for all the new subscribers, welcome. Welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. Okay, let's dive in. Dead or arrival, the AMD Radeon RX 7600. Is it gold or is it dead on arrival? Okay, so let's go ahead and switch ourselves over. Let's go ahead and switch ourselves over to the action screen. What do y'all think? Let's go ahead and do that real quick. There we go. All right. So, as I'm fitting everything through, and I forgot to do this again, let's kind of, there we go. Good enough for me, good enough for you. Okay, so we're on TechSpot, techspot.com, and we're doing the review of the RX 7600, the AMD RX 7600. Okay, going on. This is their premonition, and I'm going to give a big shout out to TechSpot for all the awesome stuff they do, and everybody else, all the awesome stuff you do. Okay, since they didn't give me a 4060 or Ti or they didn't give me the RX 7600, to review. This is the best way I can do it for you. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts of what I've been hearing and what I've been seeing and what other people have been saying. And come up with a small conclusion at the end. So make sure you stick around to the end to get my conclusions. Getting to the juicy part of this and seeing what's going on and everything else, the 7600, the RX 7600 Radeon. Okay, the first list price, what happened is they say, okay, well, it's $300. Okay, that's what they tell everybody. We're just going to do the price point first, and then we're going to explain the amount of, what the card's really valued at. And I'm going to tell you from beginning to end where the card's valued and where it's not. Okay, so looking at the card, basically, let's get to the juice of it. They started off with that the card's going to be $299.99, $300, but since NVIDIA put out their price of the 4060 Ti at $300, and they're both 8 gigabyte cards. Don't get this wrong. Okay, so everybody has their own valued way of testing, but when I get the card in my hand, I'll have my value way of testing and show you the values that I get from the cards. Now, going back to the last video that I did, if you watched the last video, you would understand the 4070, RTX 4070, and the testing I did. I have two testings I did in there. One was it Superstition benchmark? I think it was Superstition benchmark, and it was a racing superposition benchmark. Sorry, and it was a racing benchmark. As you can see, with the FPS there and the low side FPS on superposition and the high side, I showed you two different ones. There's a reason for that. So we'll get into that later at the end, and I'll explain that a little bit better so you understand the reason why I did that testing there, so you can see my whole point. But as far as the 7600, 7600 itself from AMD, they lowered the price to 270 last minute. It has all the reviewers and everything scrambling because they're now having to redo a lot of things. Because they offset the price about $30 last minute. So, but the thing is this, I'm doing this in real time. I waited till a certain time to make sure on launch day that AMD wasn't going to do last minute switching, which they did. So I waited before I made this video. And I told y'all before on the 4060 Ti, on that video, that I was done with, trying to justify what the 4060 Ti was. I can't justify that. Okay? But as far as the 4060 Ti compared to this card, truthfully, I still can't justify it. And the reason why, because these are lower price cards, but there's a but to it. Okay? Now, when it comes to lower price cards, that's fine. But I still can't justify with the pricing on this. I mean, $270, I still can't justify the prices on this. But, when it comes to, AMD with the 7600, I can see where they're justifying the price, but the thing is this, you still got the RX 6600 for lower price. The 6600 and the 6650 XT are still at a better price. Price to performance wise, they're still at a better price. Okay, then they are this 7600, RX 7600. Because looking at the benchmarks, let's go ahead and just, solidify what they got for benchmarks. Oh, Lordy. Okay, we're going to do this. The I'm going to start at the bottom. The RX 6600 was on its high, 79 FPS. On its low, 1% low, is down to 70 FPS on their charts for Fortnite. And this is at 1080p, epic quality, TAA, native resolution. Okay? Native. That's probably meaning that it was down to stock. So, to get 79 FPS on the high from the RX 6600, that's not bad. Okay, truthfully, that's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Okay, but the RTX 2060 at 81 FPS, still not bad. But it's bad enough. Okay, now going up the ladder, they got the 6600 XT at 89 FPS and a 78 down to low. That's still not bad. Okay, that's 89. Now get this. Now you got the RTX 3060 with the 2060, right? And you got the 6600 XT all at 89 FPS. Okay, 89 FPS. Okay, but the 7600 and the 3060 on the low is 80 FPS compared to the 2060, which is at 79 FPS and on the low, and the 6600 at 78 FPS on the low. But the thing is, how many times are you going to hit the low? That's going to be another thing. Not many times compared to hitting the highs. So you do have to remember that. Now, here comes the Radeon RX 7600 at 90 FPS on the high and 80 FPS on the low. Okay, so the with the RX 7600, the 3060, the RTX 3060, the RX 2060, and I can say the RX 6600 XT are all running neck and neck with the new 7600 from AMD. Okay, neck and neck. But what's even more of a butt kicker is you got the 6650 XT. Now, I remember doing graphics card nightmares last week and seeing the 6650 XT at Micro Center. At Micro Center for what? 279? So this one here is supposed to be what? 270? And the 6650 XT is 95 FPS on the high and 84 on the low. So what's the better deal, the 7600 or the 6650 XT? I'm not even going to compare that to the 4060 Ti at this point. Price-wise, the 6650 XT on Fortnite seems to be a lot better than the 7600. A lot better. And that's why everybody told me, get the 6650 XT. You know what? I should have. Maybe I should have. But then you get the 6700. It's at 107 FPS and 86 on the low. And then you got the 3060 Ti, which I'm not going to compare it because you can't compare that to apples and oranges. So, but, you can't really compare it. But just to stay around the realm of the 7600, looking one above and looking one below, it looks like it has a lot of competition. But the better of the choices, the 6650 XT on pricing. Okay, so the 6650 XT for 5% more gains with the 6650 XT over the 7600 is you pay what, $9 more? So do your math. For an extra 5 FPS, you're paying $9. On the low, for an extra 4 FPS, you're paying $9. So, truthfully, I don't see the 7600 having any kind of value just yet. This is just one benchmark. Let's go and hit it at 1440p. Okay, 1440p now. This is 1440p resolution. Let's kind of make this a little bit bigger so you all can see it. Okay, so we'll do that, and we'll make this bigger so that way you can see 1440p resolution. Okay, now looking at the chart, let's start at the bottom again. Oh, this is going to be a long video, so do expect it to be a long video. It's going to have a long time on it. So, but looking at the RX 6600 from Radeon, AMD, 54 on the high and 46 on the low. Now go to the 2060, 57 on the high and 50 on the low. Okay, go to the 6600 XT, 61 on the high and 51 on the low. Now go to the 2070, 63 on the high and 55 on the low. Okay, now go to the 7600, 64 on the high and 53 on the low. Neck and neck, the RTX 2070 is neck and neck with the RX 7600 in this 1440p same game. Now, what beats it is the 2060 with the 64 on the high and the 55 on the low. Neck and neck. But It beats it on the low by 2 FPS. Now again, 6650 XT RTX or RX 6650 XT. Now, $9 difference between the two. Now you got 65 FPS on the high and 55 on the low. That's 1 FPS difference than the 7600 on the high. Now on the low is a little bit different story. It's 2 FPS higher. So neck and neck again. And you got the RTX 3060, which is 1 FPS on the low away from the 6650 XT. So moving up down the food chain, these are your $200 to $300 cards. These are your price pointed $200 to $300 cards. Okay, $200 to $300 cards that should have been $199. They should have been down at the price point of $199 to suffice for the amount of gain. Okay, now right here, the 7600, I can tell you a card that keeps up with that. I mean, I can tell you a card that does keep up with this right here. And it's not even being measured on this because it's at a lower price point. Okay, and it has half the amount of VRAM in it than this has, and still has a higher price, has a higher FPS point. So this is just measuring the, between the 8 gigabytes of VRAM and up. Okay, so we're just measuring that. So as you can see, at the top of the food chain is going to be the 4070 Ti, and the RTX 4070 they're at the high point of the food chain. So me spending $600 on the RTX 4070 was well worth my buy. Looking at what this is coming out to be for the lows, I saved I was able to gain a great card. And trust me, I am still very happy with the RTX 4070. Even though that nobody's buying it and everything else, that's y'all's mistake. That is going to be y'all's mistake not buying the RTX 4070. Okay? That's going to be y'all's mistake. Especially with the amount of cores and everything else, and everybody's trying to go for these half-price cards. The price to performance is not there. These cards should have been down below $200. Even though I agree with the fact that you could have went to Micro Center and got a $100 gift card on, buying a 4070 or a 40 series card, got a $100, package from Micro Center, that would have made the card $500. So if you really look at it and you get that $100 package from Micro Center for and have that for a total $500, $600 for the card, get a $100 package that leaves it down to $500. So you're gaining off of that. So that is a better deal, steal deal, and it's not a cash grab. It's just they offer that. And being honest with you, I wish I would have went to Micro Center and got the RTX 4070. I really did. But I bought it from Amazon, and I got what I got. I didn't get nothing. So yes, I spent $600. Well, actually, the card was donated to the channel. I know by who, and they remain anonymous, and that's the way they want to leave it. So, okay. So, and my big shout out to them. Thank you for buying the card. Okay. Even though that the card in actuality didn't cost them anything. In actuality, it didn't cost them anything, so it's not going to cost me anything. That's the reason why I got the cart. So understand that. Because, it's the matter of financial, trying to work my financial around and stuff. When they get great deals, they kind of throw some deals my way and say, hey, we'll help you out. I'm like, okay, that works out for me. But back to the RX 7600. The thing is this. Price to performance, not there. I'm not going to recommend the cart. I mean, I would recommend the 6650 XT. Now, what we're going to do is this. We're going to take and we're going to see if Micro Center still has it. That's what we're going to see. We're going to see if Micro Center still has it. And let's see. Oh, looky there. Looky there. Looky there. They got the Challenger D for $249. Look at this, $249. Challenger D. 8 gigabytes. GDR6 PCIe 4.0. $249. They got the Mech 2 for $284. They got they got it right here for $279. Still a $9 difference, but look at this. Okay, we'll accept you. Okay, now we got the calculator out. Now we're chooching with power. Okay, so if you spent $270, right? Minus that, if you bought it from Micro Center for $249, you save $21. And you probably get something for free from them too. They always got steal deals. And look at it that way. So now let's do the $300 price point. If AMD would have left it at $300, let's minus it from the $249. $51 difference. $51 difference, y'all. Okay, this is the point I'm making. Okay, now the 7600. Look at this. That's overclocked. Which the thing is 7600 it's not overclocked. So, but this one is overclocked for $249. It's an ASRock AMD RX 6650 XT Challenger D. Overclocked dual fan right here. Point proven. Okay, so for $250. $250. I mean, still, they say the 6650 XT, which launched at MSRP of $400. So going back to the price point again, it launched at $400, right? So it launched at $400, the 6650 XT. Minus it from the $250 that it is now, it's $150 cheaper. $150 cheaper from MSRP. $150 cheaper. Okay, so price to performance might be 5%. But compared to the $270 price point, the $270 price point, you get 5% more boost of performance, and you're only paying $250, $20 less than this, than the 76, the 7600. Okay, now Resident Evil 1080p. Let's go to it. This is Resident Evil. Okay. Now, this is at 1080p. Prioritize graphics quality. Higher is better. Okay. Down at the bottom, RTX 2060. 72 FPS on the top and 61 at the bottom. 2060 again. I don't see the difference unless it's a overclocked model. Then it would be 76 on the top and 63 on the bottom. 2070, 76, 63. 2060, 2070. It looks like they're pretty much equal. 6600. The RX 6600. 78 on the top and 65 on the bottom. Here comes the new 7600. 86 on the top and 77 on the bottom. Okay, so 1 or 2% between the 6600 and the 7600. 1 to 2%. Now the 6600 XT is 92 on the top and 80 on the bottom. But look at the 6650 XT. It's 101 FPS on the top and 92 on the bottom. Now, I'm just going to compare the 76 to the 6650. Okay? The 6650 XT, price to performance, and you guys are going to be shocked when I tell you this. Price to performance, the 6650 XT is a better buy than the 7600. It is a better buy. I know some people's numbers are going to show differently. Different reviewers are going to have different kind of numbers. But I'm going to tell you my numbers and what I see other people's numbers. And when, I come to my conclusion, what's the better buy? And I just showed you that you can go to Micro Center and get it for $250. $20 cheaper than, anywhere else. So, and price to performance, geez, I'd get the 6650 XT over the 7600, be honest with you. So there you have it. The 6650 XT blowing the new 7600 out of the water. Is it dead on arrival? Close. But, but if you're coming from you're from having a 2070 or a 2060, I could see the difference of it in, being in there, or if you have I'm not saying going from the 2080 because they're not showing the 2080 here. So I think the 2080 would probably even beat the 7600. So now, from what they're saying, it's more disappointing at 1080p. The RX 7600 was slower than the 6600 XT, 15% slower than the 6650 XT, and 10% faster than the 6600. Fell short of the RTX 3060 being almost 20% slower. Okay, so truthfully, price to performance, they need to knock the 7600 down to $199 for price to performance. Drop it down to $200 and I'm sure it'll be a great sell. But the 6600 being $209, and there's just maybe 3 to 4 to 5% difference between the 6600 and the 7600. Like I said, if that card's the 6600 is $209, and they need to drop the 7600 down to $209, because those two are the competitors towards each other. I don't see the 7600 competing. I really don't see it competing anywhere else. Resident Evil 4 1440p. Let's see. 6650, 71, on the high and 61 on the low. 7600, 65 on the high and 56 on the low. Again, and the competitor to the 7600 is going to be the 6600 XT. Okay, the competitor. Okay, now don't get it wrong that the 6600 is, okay, I'll say this. Instead of saying, put the 76 at 209, I would say 230. Okay, to be fair, just to say 230, just to be fair. But to make that fair, the 6650 XT is still a better deal. As you can see, the 66, it falls between the 6650 and the 6600 XT. So, again, price to performance, I'm well glad I got the RTX 4070. I ain't got to worry about the price to performance. Because I think, with that steel deal from Micro Center, then, that bringing that card down to like $500, it's well worth it at that point. At that price point, the 4070 is well worth itself. And for what my testing I did, it's definitely meeting and exceeding my expectations. Okay, now, Plague Tale Requiem. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Well, it sees that the 7600 XT is above, at 1080p, is above the 6650 XT, but by what? 2%, 3%? And the 6600 XT up by 8%, and so on. But still this 3060 Ti and the 6700 XT, are still well above the 7600. So the 6700 XT is still well above the 7600. So again, price to performance, let's go to 1440p, and we're going to keep this up here. We don't need to worry about the bottom. Okay, 7600 RX 7600, 59 on the high and 50 on the low. Okay, now this 3060 Ti is 67 and 56, so you're looking at what, 8% higher than the 7600. So 4060 Ti, it's catching up slowly with the 4060 Ti at 1440p. But do remember, they did say the 4060 Ti is going to be based more on 1080p than it is 1440p. So do keep that in mind. Now, the 7600 is above the 6650 XT, but by not much, by 2 to 3%. Still, price to performance, 6650 XT is still a better deal. F122 at 1080p, again, it's like about maybe 8-9% difference between the 76 and the 6650 XT. Not much, but still you got the 6700 XT well above it by 6%. You all can see the numbers. I don't have to preach them to you. So going to 1440p now. Still, we're not looking at much of a difference here. Between the 6700 XT and the 6650 XT, it's still keeping it tight. So, and, when it's keeping it that tight, it seems to be doing really, really good for the 6650 XT. Price to performance wise, 6650 XT is still, that would be one I would recommend over this one. And let's do the Cyberpunk 2077 at 1080p. Let's see what happens. 6%. $200, $20 difference between the two. It's kind of a tight thing, but still, regardless, 6650 XT still stands up. You know, really close, and the 6700 is really close. It's in between those three. So, you know, you got the 6700 XT, the 6650 XT, so it's right in between the two. So, going 1440p, again, it's still in between those two. You know, but the price to performance for the 7600 being at 300 or 270, whatever they said, you know, getting 55 FPS, right? I mean, you're paying. Okay, this is how we're gonna figure it. Okay, so you get. I'm gonna use the 4070. You get 82 compared to the 55. Okay, so you get 82 minus the 55. You get 27 FPS more. Okay, so still, it's about almost equal to the. It's almost equal to the 4070 in cost. It's about almost equal to it in cost. The reason why I'm saying that is because, you know, 27 more FPS on their numbers, not my numbers, their numbers. And don't get it wrong, this is TechSpot numbers. These are not my numbers. When I get the cards, I'll tell you what the numbers are. But I can tell you the RTX 4070, when I'm running it at 1080p right now, on some of the games I'm getting between 300 and 400 FPS. So I don't know where they get these numbers from. You know, I really don't. But that's their numbers. That's the way they test. The way I test is a lot different. I test at stock and in full barrel. You know, see what the card can do at its max. So that's where I get my numbers from, to see what it does. Dying Light 2, Stay Human. Let's see. Again, you know, you got the 6650 XT and the 3060 Ti 6700. Still within the same amount, okay? No matter which way you cut it, I would still bring the 7600 down to $200 and bring the 6650 down to like 220. Okay, these two I would bring down in price as far as, you know, performance. You know, the 6600 XT, whatever price it is at right now. Let's see the RX 6600 XT price. Let's find this out. Let's find this out together. Let's find it. Let's be fair. Since I do Amazon a lot, we'll just do the Amazonian thing. Okay. So whoa, you serious? Look at this. Wow, somebody's trying to sell it for $500. Wow. Okay, so looking at this, the 6700 XT, they're selling it for $689. Look at this. 6700 XT for $689. And you're thinking that the RTX 4070 was high for $599? Really? Look at the price. Look at the price. Look at that. And the 6600 XT for $254. Look at this. Okay, look at the price. And you can go get, well, yeah. You can get the 6650 XT for $249 at Micro Center. So I want y'all to let that price sink in a little bit. I want y'all to let the price sink in a little bit. Look at this, $393 for the 6600 XT. Okay, we'll go buy this one. We'll go buy this one right here. To be fair, we'll do the MSI Gaming Radeon RX 6650 XT, $383. Do you think that's fair? No. You can go to Micro Center. Okay, right here. You think that's fair? No. You can go to Micro Center. You think that's fair? No. You can go to Micro Center. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what they put. Now this ain't graphics card nightmares. Okay, $200 for the RX 6600 8 gig. $200. Okay, just making a point. $219. Okay, 6650 XT, $254. $209. $6,900. $579. $6,500. I would never buy that card. Forget it. Never, 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 never. 67, $359. Okay, 6700, $359. And they're trying to compare that to the 4070. Really? Come on. You know, let's see. 6800 XT, $534. 6750, $449. Okay, now this for $450, probably. See right here, the 6950 XT for $629. Okay, $599 for the 4070 for $30, $31 more. You can get this one right here. Okay, the list price was $699. Now it's down to $629. 6950 XT, yeah, I would consider that to be the next go-to card compared to the RTX 4070. But we're comparing the 7600. Okay, so let's see. Let's go to the top and let's see what the 7600 falls in. Let's see. 7600. Okay, so they got the 7900, 7900, 7900, 7900, and we're looking for the 7600. And this is Amazon. Amazon ain't even selling this card. Look at that. Amazon ain't selling this card. Let's go to Newegg. Let's go to Newegg and see what they got to offer. Okay, so we are looking for the RX 7600. Okay, let's see. 5600, 56, 56, 56. 56, 56, 56, 56. Did I put 56? No, I put 76. Let's see, 56, 56, 56. Holy Jesus. Holy Jesus. And guess what? It doesn't look like... It does not look like... Nope. It doesn't look like Newegg's selling it neither. Okay, now... Let's go to eBay. eBay. Let's just take a little gander and put the RX 7600. Just to see, I just want to see. This is just running a test. Let's see, 79. Let's see, Ryzen 76. Let's see. Wow. Wow. Not even eBay. Not even eBay. Maybe I should make this AMD. Let's see. Well, they're selling systems, but I'm digging in, people. I am digging in my heels to see what's going on. No go. No go. No joke, man. So, let's go to Micro Center. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me back this up. Whoa. Let me back this up. Okay. Let me undo this and start backwards. Launch day is tomorrow. I'm going to start my way backwards, and the launch day is tomorrow. Okay. So disregard that. We're going to keep back on the numbers, and launch day is tomorrow, not today. So, again, you see the numbers right here. All right. So, we get the idea that the numbers are there. So, now we're going to look at the RX 7600 stats. Let's see. What do we got? Do we got any stats? Do we got anything going on? Nope, we don't even got that. Because usually you see tech power up, and they would have the stats. Let's see if we go a little bit deeper. Okay, so here we go. Had to dig a little deep for that one. Looks like everybody's trying to bury their head in the sand. So, 248 cores. 2,048 cores. Okay. Oh, wow. They measure it down here near Titan X in Pascal. Okay, so it's 6 nanometer, monolithic, RDNA 3, availability on the 25th. It's 270. Now, the bus interface is PCIe 4.0 X8. I don't know what they're thinking about doing an X8. You lose, and they should have did X16 and have more lanes opened up other than having just 8 lanes. You should have had 16 lanes. And then you have more performance. So, back to the stats. Let's see what we got. It's 165 watt TDP. Okay. It's got one 8-pin connector. It has DirectX 12.2. It has OpenGL 4.6, OpenCL 2.2, Vulkan 1.3, and shader model 6.7. Shading units 2048, TMUs 128, ROPS 64, compute units 32, RT cores 32. Now it has an L0 cache 32 KB per WGP. You know what that means. So it has an L1 cache 128 KB per array. It has an L2 cache of 2 megabytes and an L3 cache of 32 megabytes. Okay, I think that's having the L0 and the L1 in there killed it. They should have attached it to the L2 and L3. That's my opinion. So that would have made it a little bit better. Now a bandwidth of 288 gigabits per second. Wow. And it's got a 128-bit bus. It's GDR6. It's got 8 gigs of memory. It's 2 slotted, so it takes 2 slots. Memory clock's 2250, 18 gigabits per second effective. Okay, now the thing is this. They need to get away from doing the 18 gigabits per second and do it up to above 21 and 22 gigabits per second and give the consumer something, a fighting chance to play these games. Boost clock's 2625, game clock's 2250, and base clock's 1720. So basically it'll do up to maybe 2800, 2900 max. So, but it's got a pixel rate of 168 gigapixels. Texture rate is 336 gigatextils. FP16 half is 43.01 T-flops 2 to 1. Now, 43.01 2 to 1 should have been 43.01 1 to 1. Or 3 to 1. That means 2 to 1 means twice. So 1 to 1 means single. So should have been 3 to 1, in my opinion. So the FP32 is 2150 T-flops. FP64 doubles 672 G-flops at 1 to the 32nd. Now, that's where I think they lost a little bit of it because it's at the G-flops. I mean, a lot of these graphics cards are FP64 are running into the T-flops. Okay, now they made this a G-flop card for some reason. They just want to keep, throwing more garbage to the lower end. I mean, that's pretty much what you guys are getting is the cut-off garbage from the end. The end of whatever they had on the high end. So you get the garbage of the low end. They need to stop doing that. I mean, they really do. I mean, the only cards that they offer are you got the regular RX 7600. You got the ASRock RX 7600 Phantom Gaming OC. You got Power Collar Hellbound RX 7600. You got the Sapphire Pulse RX 7600 OC. Now, as far as better cards than the one that I just showed you, would probably be your ASRock or your Sapphire. Power Color might come up in their numbers if they got an OC, but they don't have an OC on theirs. So it looks like ASRock and Sapphire Pulse have a OC on theirs, so they got an overclock version. So let's go ahead and let's look at the ASRock overclock version. Let's see if they give anything more or less. Yeah, well, they do. The game clock, the boost clock comes up. That seems to be that. And the pixel rate comes up, the texture rate comes up, the FP16 comes up, the FP32 comes up, and the FP64 comes up. What else? The width changes and the length changes. What else? Anything else changes? Actually, no. Nothing else changes. So just those little changes that they did to make an OC version really is not that much of a change. So, looking at the price to it, we're going to have to look that up manually so that way we can see what the price is, on that. As soon as they come out tomorrow, we're going to have to wait till tomorrow. So, what I'm going to do is tomorrow is Thursday. So, on Saturday, in Graphics Card Nightmare, I'm gonna make a look at all the pricing for the 7600 as well. So you have to wait till Saturday to get the prices from me and what I think on them on Saturday. So today is just an upbring to the 7600. A review to see what it's all about, to see if it's going to be worth it. And on Saturday, we're going to see the pricing. And then maybe on Sunday, we'll see my actual thought and result. So today, we're just, I'm just giving you my thought and way I'm seeing it. If it's gold or if it's DOA, I'm thinking at this point, it's about in between. Okay, it's not gold and it's not DOA, but for somebody that, has like a 2060 or 2070 or a low end card, that they're working with right now, I'm thinking that, that might be a good boost for them otherwise. But would be a better boost for you would be the 6650 XT. I think in some games, 6650 XT or the 6700 XT. Well, let's see let's go back again and see the price on the 6700 RX 6700 XT. Just to get our mindset of what's going on. So we'll go on Amazon and we'll look at it. Okay, so it's $545. So, $545. And it's got 12 gigabyte of GDR6. So, but it is, truthfully, it is in between. Wow. So, yeah, I mean, compared, let's see, the 6700 XT's got 12 gigabytes. It's $545. Not a bad deal. If you don't want to get the 4070, you can always get the 6700 XT. Or, looking at the 6800 XT for $900, and that's 16 gigabytes, I really don't see it really being a good price. Okay, I really don't. Here, Power Color's got the 6700 XT for $349. I still don't see the price to performance between the 76 and that. I really don't see the price difference. They're all coming up around $349. If you want to look at it like that, it's coming up around $349, and it's not that much more faster, and that's the thing. So for $349, $350, the 6700 XT, I really don't see it. Even the 6800, that's a bit faster than the 4070. They still want $300 more for the 6800 XT. So I really don't see it. I really don't. in price to performance. I really don't see it. So that is my thought. Okay, now, since we've seen what we needed to see and we've seen the prices on some of this, if you're looking for a low-end budget card, the 6650 XT from Micro Center is your best way to go. That I would definitely recommend. 6700, well, between the price range of the new 7600 that's coming out from AMD and the 6650 XT, the better deal would be the 6650 XT. So is the 7600 dead on arrival? Yes and no. It's in between. It's not gold, and then it's not dead on arrival. Okay? It's not either or. I know it kind of sucks coming up to this point of thinking about it. If you're looking for a low end, lower than $300 budget card, yeah, it would be considered somewhere in between there. Okay? But looking at a $200 card, if you're looking for a $200 card, somewhere in that price range, the RX 6600, that would be around your $200 range. That would be second best to the 6650 XT. Now, as far as the 6600 XT, it depends. Depends on who you buy it from and for what price. So, but 7600 XT is kind of left me right in the middle. It's not a bad card. It's not a dumpster fire, let's just say, but it's not as what you expect, like for your 40 series and NVIDIA. You know, it's not where it needs. It's not up there where the 4070 is. So the 4070, the 4070 Ti, the 4080, the 4090 Ti, 90, whatever. They're all in their different class. Okay. Now, for a card that's going to last you quite a while, 7600 will last you a while, if that's the route you want to go, for the price of $270. Now, as far as I'm concerned, $270 for that, and them wanting to charge at MSRP $300 and getting like a fourth of the speed and precision of the RTX 4070, I think, no. I'm best off that I got the $600 RTX 4070 than I would getting the RX 7600. So you kind of, it comes down to this: what you pay for, you get in performance. So if you're not getting it in performance, so then you need to do your homework and do your investigation and find out what would be best. Yes, I could have went with the 6750 XT. I could have went with it, but I didn't. Because I wanted to see what NVIDIA had compared to me going from an integrated graphics up to that card, to the 40 series. I wanted to see what that card has, to offer. I know what AMD has to offer. I've had a couple of their cards, but I wanted to see what NVIDIA had to offer, especially at 12 gigabytes. And so far, I'm not disappointed. I'm pretty impressed. Okay, pretty impressed. But we're going to go ahead and end the video right here. We're over an hour and 5 minutes or so. So if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And again, I want to welcome all the new subscribers to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds family. And all the subscribers that we do have on the channel, I want to thank you again and again and again for watching the videos and helping support the channel. You all are awesome. You all are the best. So until the next time and the next video, this is JJ on JJ's PC Builds. We will see you on the next one.